Welcome to 303 Hoops, a whole lot more than the box score. For you hoop junkies, number nerds, or just someone who loves basketball, this is for the love of the game. As always, I'm Ryan Hinske.
And I'm Caleb Bunch.
And we are on video.
I know.
We're on video and audio.
Yeah, exciting. We're on multiple platforms now. Well, added platform, YouTube. Here we are.
Yeah.
Our debut.
We're
I'm
up
excited.
in the game a little bit.
I think we are.
Yeah.
People wanted it. Someone was telling me we need a video. So
Yeah.
here you guys are.
People need options
Exactly.
these days.
Exactly.
So, yeah, we're happy to bring this podcast to the video platform of YouTube while keeping it on audio on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Yep.
And, yeah, we're going to talk. Well, Caleb, we should preface that we were going to talk about the NBA a little bit.
Right.
But then
We realized it's the most wonderful time of the year.
Yeah.
College hoops is back. And there are some games that we got to go over. But before we get into college basketball, of course, we have our signature segment that we open up with. So, Ryan, kicking it off for our song of the day, what do you have?
I heard this song for the first time, probably not ever, but the first time that I can remember the other day. It's Receipt by Lil Wayne.
Such a good song. Carter 2,
From
baby.
Carter 2, which I have listened to before, but I circled back to this one song because it was on one of my daily playlists that Spotify makes for me.
Right.
And I was like, wow, this is a really good song. And you've been really good at keeping the titles, like somehow mixing in the titles of the songs or the content of the song into. I've been keeping receipts on NBA basketball. I want people to know we haven't forgotten.
This is true.
About the NBA. We will be back. But
we will be back.
The fact that it's opening weekend for college basketball, we have to get into that. But also great song.
No, beautiful song. And like you said, I think you're keeping a receipt. The Spurs, they're top 4 right now in the NBA, like you said. So, I don't know.
Still
good for you,
tabs.
man.
Yeah.
Still keeping tabs. My song today was Just Step Prelude by Mobb Deep. Great song. It is an a cappella freestyle. Mobb Deep has one of the best albums ever. I first got into Mobb Deep because I heard them on 2K, actually. I don't know if that was 2K13. You guys can fact check me. But they were originally on 2K. And let me look what.
Mobb Deep. Yeah. I haven't listened to a lot of Mobb Deep, but I just listened to the song. It's like a minute.
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool, man. The a cappella. That's what I did in college, you know.
Yeah. Shook One's Part 2, 2K13 soundtrack. So there you guys go. But yeah, so that's our songs of the day. And dude, without further ado, it's time to get into it. College hoops.
Yes.
Everyone who doesn't keep up, y'all should. NBA is awesome, but I think, of course, you can't get to the NBA without, obviously, you know, that intermediary step. And college hoops had its big kickoff last night. So a lot of teams played, whether they were mid-major, Power 4 conference teams. But there's a specific matchup we want to talk about to kick things off. And without further ado, Ryan, like I said before, you want to kick us off again with this? Yeah.
Yeah. The only ranked matchup from yesterday.
Correct.
Number 3, Florida, and number 13, Arizona.
13, yes.
Played in Vegas for the opening. You know, they've had these great games in Vegas. BYU and Villanova played in Vegas last night. That was a close game. BYU won as they should, but it was a 5-point game.
Right.
But Arizona and Florida, we got an instant classic. We got the defending champions against an Arizona team that has lost some players. But, you know, despite that, Florida's lost some players too, but you know, they were able to replace a lot of their players with some exciting players that we will get into, Boogie Flan being one of them. But Florida's ultra-aggressive approach on the defensive end was kind of, I would say, not exposed, but it was Arizona poked some holes in there.
Yeah.
They invited contact. They got to the line. They made the Gators uncomfortable. They got them in foul trouble. Simple pick and roll, drive to the rim, force a foul. They know Florida's going to be aggressive. Right. So they actually turned that into their advantage. They won the game. It was a crazy game because I thought the game was over at 1:08 when Del Orso was fouled behind the half-court line.
Yes.
Florida was getting a little too aggressive. It was a little too much. and I was like, Arizona's going to win this game. And then the full court press was brought out by Florida, and somehow they got within 3 points. And Boogie Flan got a steal, wide open three from the corner, missed it on a second straight win in the full court press. 2 straight wins in the full court press. It wasn't enough. Arizona gets the opening game victory, and I want to hear what you have to say breaking down that game, Caleb.
Yeah, what a game. I was excited to see how Florida would deal with losing those 3 guards that they had last year. Of course, Walter Clayton, who's now on the Jazz, Richard, who is now on the Warriors, and then Elijah Martin. I forget where he's at. But all 3 of them who are now no longer with the program, kind of their 3 leading horsemen last year in that national championship run. I thought they had some good transfers coming in. Obviously, they had Boogie Flan from Arkansas and then Xavier Lee from Princeton as well. So those were their 2 lead guards last night who kind of had to handle the ship of Arizona. But Arizona, they themselves had good guard play last night.
They did.
Del Orso, goodness, I can never say his name. And then Jaden Bradley, who I think was talked about a lot last year because he kind of had this leadership role almost, but now he's definitely in that veteran presence, and he wasn't on any of the watch list. He wasn't on the Bob Cousy list, which was surprising. Not a top 20 guard according to whoever was curating that list of players, but I think he had a chip on his shoulder last night. He had 27, and then, of course, we can't talk about Jaden Bradley without talking about Koa Pete. Dude. I mean, he had 30.
The back-to-back dunks.
It was ridiculous. The lob, oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness. And then on the other end, the trailer.
Yes.
And you could see that this dunk was gonna happen 3 seconds before it happened. And you're like, this Koa Pete guy.
He's real.
One of the 2 5-star recruits.
This is true.
That Florida has coming in as freshmen.
Arizona,
that's pretty exciting. Yeah, Arizona. That's what I meant. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, they I think, like you said, they used Florida's aggressiveness against them. But also, looking at the box score, I don't think that Florida played their best game, just based off some pure stats that they had. Florida shot 43% from the field, 26% beyond the arc. Arizona shot 49% from the field overall and shot 40% beyond the arc, but they only shot 5 threes, so kind of hard number to really go off of. But based off that alone, and then also looking at the turnovers, Florida lost the turnover margin. Arizona shot more free throws than them, and Florida shot 66% from the line compared to Arizona shooting 82%. So if you told me all that before the game, I would be super surprised. But the outcome with knowing that is not too surprising. However, I do think that Todd Golden did an amazing job keeping them in the game. Some of the sets he was drawing up were just beautiful to watch.
Agreed.
There's a set out of halftime specifically, and it was almost like a horns action where they had 2 of their bigs at the elbows, and then they passed it off, and then a lot of kind of Princeton offense motion where they came off these screens and then back cuts, and they missed the shot because of an aired pass, and it was kind of hard to recover from that. But just getting players open, and I think Todd Golden did a really good job of doing that last night, but unfortunately wasn't in his favor. But I think amazing game, and Florida will be back. I have no concerns about them considering the talent that they have on their squad this year. Condon's still there, and Hauf, who was their 6th man last year, played well last night.
He might be the leader of the team.
He might be their best player this year. Who knows?
And if not the best player, he was the most vocal on that last night, just watching them. When they would go into their little huddles, he was the first one to say something.
Right, exactly. You know? And there was a moment in time, I think he had 10 of their last 12 points in that second half.
Including the first steal off the full court press.
Correct, exactly. So, I think Florida's in a good spot, even though they lost last night. I don't think, first game of the season, people are going to overreact. Oh, is Florida really, as good as they were last year? So time will only tell with that. But I do think that has a lot to say about Arizona, though.
Yes.
Being able to come in against the defending champs, and your freshman scores 30, your lead guard scores 27, and then also contributions from other players as well. So I have a lot of faith in that team as well. I think Big 12 action will be exciting to watch, which we'll get into later about our picks for that conference. But I think that conference is loaded. We talked about BYU with DeBunsta, Wright, Saunders, and their high-octane offense. But Arizona might have some words to say about that.
Yeah, I think there were more exclamation points about Arizona than question marks about Florida leaving that game.
Exactly.
It was more like, we're still here.
Right. Right.
And that was great for them. But, when it comes to conference play, I think Florida's a little bit more worried about the SEC.
Correct.
That's when we'll really be able to tell how they're looking in that conference.
And that's just a deep conference. And
it is.
It was super deep last year. I don't know if it'll be as deep this year, but I think that the amount of talent in that conference this year is definitely going to shine come later when conference play starts, and then especially in March. So, yeah.
Well, that's a great segue because we have 9 conferences to talk about.
We do.
We chose to pick conference winners. We're going to break it down a little more tightly on Thursday, but to start everything off, we wanted to just say, hey, here's our preseason, because some teams still haven't played.
Right.
We're going to take a look at what we think this conference is going to shake up as. And I tried to pretend like yesterday never happened, but when we get to the SEC, that will have to be brought up.
Exactly.
But, yeah, we chose 9 of the best conferences, the 9 most relevant conferences, where, even if some are technically mid-major, they'll get some teams that get a 6th seed in the NCAA tournament.
Right.
So, yeah, if you're ready, Caleb.
I'm ready to go.
We can jump into it with the A10.
The
We're going to go
alphabetically.
Which is a fun conference.
It is.
Shout out the A10.
A lot of people to watch out for this year. A lot of transfers, right? And a lot of squads that I think will, like you said, kind of make some noise when that tournament play starts and then find themselves in March when that time rolls around. And I had VCU winning. It's my parents' alma mater, so I had to go with them. My mom,
Virginia
dad,
Commonwealth.
met there. Yeah, Virginia Commonwealth. So, but in all seriousness, though, I think that VCU has a lot of length on that roster and very athletic players. So they have a lot of wings and depth that they're able to switch around. So when like high ball screens and action like that is happening, they're able to see their 3 through 5s really switch because a lot of those players are able to guard guards, and then also their big men are kind of agile as well and mobile. So you saw that last night or yesterday. Their big man, Djokovic, not the tennis player, but had a good game. He's from Serbia. So I'm interested to see how Phil Martelli, who is in his first year there with the squad, coaches the Rams. They also play at a super fast pace, especially for the A10. Last year, they were averaging around 70 possessions a game. I think that number will be around there, maybe even higher, which is pretty high for A10 basketball. So I think they also have an unselfish offense, which kind of showed last night when they had multiple players in double figures. But I think they really will make some noise in the A10, and I think that's a squad that not a lot of people have on the radar, especially with a first-year head coach in Phil Martelli, but son of the legend, Phil Martelli Sr., I think Phil Martelli Jr., will be able to have his squad make some noise when March comes around, especially.
Well, I was going to poo-poo on your pick, but your parents met there?
They did.
Man, that's awesome.
They did.
I can't really disagree with that also because VCU's always in the running for A10. I went with St. Louis.
Good pick.
Very opposite team from VCU and are kind of under the radar, but opposite in the way that they're slow and they built around their center, Robbie Avila. Who, we know about his run with Illinois State and everything. He's had a great college career. He could be the best player in the conference. Mm-hmm. I personally think he probably isn't, but it's kind of like that Zach Edey effect where he's so visible and putting up numbers that, he's
there's a lot of gravity.
For him.
There's a lot of gravity as well.
But I do like the transfer class. They got transfer from Quinnipiac, Boston College, and then they got Brady Dunlap from St. Johnson. He came off the bench in game 1, and I thought he played 21 minutes. I thought that was interesting because, this is a Big East transfer who got minutes. He didn't play a ton for St. John's, but still, he's been coached by Rick Pitino. So I like that off the bench. That shows me some depth for an A10 team.
No.
And then Trey Green from Xavier. I liked him at Xavier. Being an undergrad in the Big East, I watched a little bit of Trey Green, and he's a good athletic player, slots in at that 3 position. I like that. And, I think there's a lot of question marks because there's a lot of transfers, but the A10 as a whole seems to be kind of a revolving door.
Right.
At this point, there's a lot of good coaches, but programs that are moving around.
Right.
And I think they're just going to figure it out in the tournament.
Yeah, good pick. Moving on to the ACC,
Yeah.
Ryan, you and I had different squads.
We did. Yeah.
Kind of surprising. I'm a Dookie, so of course I went Duke, but I think you should open up with why you think Louisville.
You're really showing your bias for the first 2 picks here.
I am. But
A naturalized Duke fan whose parents went to VCU. We're off to a great start.
great start. But I have no shame in admitting that.
Well,
No
you want to
shame.
hear my bias?
Let me hear
Pat
it.
Kelsey.
Exactly.
College of Charleston legend, Winthrop legend,
Exactly.
who has just coached his way to a top team in the ACC within like 4 years.
Yeah.
Like Kelsey's really only been around post-COVID, and he started at Winthrop. and then went to College of Charleston, turned that program around. They were good, and then they weren't, and then Pat Kelsey came in and was like, we're going to figure this out. Took Rainn Wilson over to Louisville. Rainn Wilson, new tattoo sleeve every year, just gaining aura every game. Great guy, great player. And now he's gone, but they got Isaac McNeely from Virginia. They got Ryan Conwell, really athletic wing from Xavier. He can hoop. Mikael Brown's explosiveness as a 5-star freshman was already put on display yesterday. I do think they'll miss the shooting from Rainn Wilson, the guy from The Office.
Yeah, The Office. Dwight.
Rainn Smith. I think they'll miss his shooting, but I think they're in a great spot.
Yeah.
In terms of talent, their depth is growing, and the amount of momentum that Pat Kelsey brings to all the programs he's been to in the last 3 programs he's been to. Just the rapid improvement, and he starts higher and higher every year, and then just has a year 2 jump.
Right.
He's year 2 now.
He is.
I'm gonna say he's gonna have a jump.
I think they'll be scary.
Yeah.
I do think that the ACC is definitely a 2-horse race this year. And I think it's Duke and Louisville. Like I said before, I picked Duke. But I am worried about Louisville. That squad is good, and their transfer portal class was good with some of the people you mentioned, and then bringing in Mikael Brown, who is a legit freshman.
But they got some good players over there in Durham.
And they do.
They do.
They
I do want to hear what you have to say about Duke.
Yeah.
As unbiased as you can
As
make.
unbiased as possible. No, I think that John Shire has shown improvements as a coach each year he's been there. First year, I think it was Sweet 16. Next year, Elite 8. And then last year, Final 4. I don't think this squad is as talented as those previous squads have been. However, I do think there's a lot of people that are willing to step up. Caleb Foster, kind of a veteran guard now, which is kind of interesting to think about because in previous years he's kind of sat behind guards, whether that's been Jeremy Roach, Tyrese Proctor, and learned from them, but now is his shoes to fill. So I think he'll be able to handle that helm as the lead guard there with also Caden Boozer and then also his twin brother, Cam Boozer. So both the Boozers, I think, highly recruited players coming out of Florida. And I think they'll be able to make instant contributions to the team. Dame Sarr, a foreign prospect that we were able to pull, and then Nick Kaminia from California, and then Sebastian Wilkins, Maryland guy. So I think it was a good class we were able to bring in, and I think John Shire is really going to be able to use and stick to that identity he built last year for this squad, and that was more so like a defensive identity. But obviously when you have Cooper Flagg, a lot of, I don't want to say holes, but a lot of faults where your team can be covered because you have a man who's able to do everything. So on the offensive end, I think there will be some questions. What will the shooting be like? I know Isaiah Evans is still there, right? And he was one of the best shooters last year in the country, but will he be able to contribute with higher volume and higher minutes this year like he was last year with not as much pressure on him last year? And I also think that Darren Harris, that's a name that people need to watch out for. Didn't play much last year just because of the amount of recruits that were there on the team, but amazing shooter out of Virginia. He went to Paul VI, which Duke has a history of recruiting players from. Jeremy Roach, Paul VI guy right there. But yeah, I think those are some good reasons that Duke will be able to contend for that ACC spot and then go further in the tournament, hopefully this year. But yeah, I just think all of those reasons really make a good Duke squad. I don't know if they'll be as good as they were last year. That historically was a really good team last year, just based off KenPom and then obviously rankings as well.
Maybe the greatest offense ever.
Right. With Tommen, Kahn, Coop. So, but yeah, I think all those reasons Duke will be fine this year. I think they'll win the ACC handedly, but I am worried. Yes, handedly. I am worried about Louisville, though, just because of how good of a coach Pat Kelsey has been and what he's been able to do with the squads he's been at.
Oh, yeah. So, he's coming.
He's coming.
Yeah. Big Ten, I don't think we have to spend too much time on. I love Yaxel Lindenborg and the Michigan Wolverines. Like, that's a great
What
transfer.
a name. Yaxel.
And Illinois, everyone's talking about those Eastern Europeans going to Illinois, but the best team in the country
Purdue.
on paper.
It's Purdue. Yeah. They're returning their lead guard, Braden Smith. He'll have an amazing year. Trey Kaufman-Wren, he'll also play well. And then Matt Painter, he's shown throughout the years he can coach basketball. He understands X's and O's very well. And Mackey Arena, one of the toughest places to play in the country that people don't mention often. So Purdue, I think they'll run the Big Ten, and we'll see. Really, for them, it's about March whether
we'll
be able.
See and we should mention we're predicting conference tournament winners.
Yes.
Who's going to win this conference, right? We will see at the United Center. We might have to do a live show.
We might have to
from
in
the
the
United
corner.
Center. Yeah, Yaxel Lindenborg versus the Purdue Boilermakers.
Exactly.
But man, it's a good conference, but I think they're a little overpowered.
Yeah.
Big 12. I got Houston. I know you do too.
I got Houston.
I want to hear about it.
Yeah, of course. I think Kelvin Sampson is one of the best coaches out there. He has an identity that they stay true every year. It's kind of like
always
when Tony Bennett was with Virginia. You know what you're getting out of Houston, like a team that's just going to grit it out, defensively wear you down.
Yeah.
Probably one of the worst teams you want to see at any time of the year because you know that they are going to play with energy. They're going to make it tough for you. So every year, Kelvin Sampson finds a way to figure it out with the squad, whether or not he has high recruits or not. But this year he has two of them. So that'll be interesting to see. Chris Senack and Isaiah Harwell, 2 5-stars that came in. So I think that's kind of unique territory for Kelvin Sampson. And then he's also returning Sharp and Uzan, who were there last year for the championship game.
I don't think it matters who's new to the team. They're just going to fit.
No, yeah.
Like Kelvin Sampson is just that guy.
Yeah. And he figures it out.
I know he's
a
nice guy, but he scares me.
No, yeah. It's like the quiet, calm demeanor, but you know he's pissed sometimes, but then he's just staring at you.
It's the way he coaches. Like, if I were his player, I would run through not just one brick wall, but
many brick walls.
cement wall for that guy.
Exactly. So
yeah,
that'll be interesting, Big 12. But there are a lot of shakers that I think can make some noise. Obviously, Kansas every year. BYU this year is a squad we mentioned. That'll be interesting to see what they do. But we both still have Houston, so it'll be interesting.
No question.
Big East.
Get to it, Caleb.
You're
wrong.
Have the Johnnies. I like Rick Pitino's squad this year. They brought in the #1 transfer class in the portal.
Yeah. So I'll let you go.
I'll make my points quick then. #1 transfer portal class, and I think defensively, Rick Pitino always has a sound squad. But I think with the athleticism he brought in with a couple of the players, I think they'll really be able to shut down people and slow the pace to what they want to go at. So we'll see what they have to say about that. I know that they lost that exhibition game to Michigan in preseason, but I think there'll be a lot of chemistry issues to start the season just because of the number of transfers you brought in. I think 5 in total. But I think as time goes on, they'll find a way to gel, whether that's Ian Jackson. They also brought in the recruit from Stanford. I'm forgetting his name right now, but he's a point guard from Stanford. And then also they had Dylan Mitchell from Texas. So that'll be an interesting squad to watch. So some high-profile names. But you do not have the Johnnies.
No. And you know what? Rick Pitino, some of his best seasons have been his third year at the school. So, I can see that. But shout out Lee Corso. Not so fast. Not so fast. I know they got all these transfers. They got blah, blah, blah. But
I know
UConn.
The Huskies.
UConn. They're back. I know. I was there at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
I wasn't there that day that the Johnnies won the tournament. I went home with DePaul University on day 2. Mm-hmm. But this year is completely different. Right. Last year we saw the Big East tournament. St. John's blew Creighton out of the gym, cruised to a Big East championship, and then lost in the first round of the tournament. In this tournament, I don't think Hurley can stay down like that. I think he's coming back with a vengeance. And I've seen so much about Alex Caravan being like he's going to be like an All-American. Terrace Reed. This is my hottest take of the year. I'm going to give you my hottest take
I'm ready here.
of the year. He's not only one of the best bigs in the conference, but this season he's going to be one of the best in the country. Top 5 big in the country.
Okay.
better than Alex Karaban.
Okay.
Have a better season. And I'm not saying stats, and I don't even know if he's going to get the All-American nod, but Terrace Reed has the physical dominance and the extreme talent on the defensive end and growth on the offensive end. He's now a 2-level scorer. He doesn't have the 3 yet, but 2-level scorer. Can get to the paint, can do enough on offense, and then he is a defensive monster. I think, I know you like
Ejiofor.
Yeah, I know you like
St.
Ejiofor.
John's.
I know you like Ejiofor.
Preseason player of the year.
I think the kryptonite in the Big East, and we'll see regular season.
Terrace Reed
is the kryptonite
for
Zuby Ejiofor. And he didn't play in the game against New Haven. He was a game-time decision. They didn't need him anyway. But I mean, he's going to be the anchor. I think they're built for another run. I think, I like Silas Damari as, a big man out of Georgia. Malachi Smith out of Dayton, great shooter. Braylon Mullins, freshman, 36 points per game, senior year of high school, 45% from 3. They got another shooter there at UConn. And I think, I don't know if St. John's is going to be able to figure it out, but I do know the roster continuity at UConn. Solo Ball might be the best shooter in the world in college right now.
Yeah.
We'll see, but I think St. John's, I don't see them repeating.
I'm not mad at that pick. I trust Hurley, and he's going to figure it out. Every year he does. So moving on, Mountain West, I don't think this requires much conversation. SDSU, every year figures out the way to make tournament and somehow makes a deep run every year, it seems like. But
they got a lot of returners too. So it's like the roster continuity there is just too much. If they did it last year, not much has changed this year, except they've probably only gotten better.
Right.
So you got to go with SDSU here.
Yeah. I think our next conference, the funniest one to talk about, the Pac-12, not much conversation to be had. Only 2 teams there right now. But I think it is something to say, though. We'll see what Oregon State, Washington State does this year. But I think Oregon State historically has played pretty well in Pac-12 play, but I know for the past couple of years they've had issues with their coach, with just whether it's like guards coming in and out, transferring. I think it'll be interesting to watch Pac-12 play, though. Yeah. Just for those 2 teams.
Yeah. Okay. Gonzaga's last year in the West Coast Conference. We feel good about that.
Gonzaga. Yeah. They run it every year. St. Mary's may have something to say, but
yeah. Well, I know your reasoning for Florida. You've said a little bit, and I'm going to let you, rebut what I'm about to say. But I got Mark Pope and the Kentucky Wildcats.
The Wildcats.
Jalen Lowe and Denzel Aberdeen, health uncertainty. They're coming back soon, and they'll be at full strength. But I challenge you to find a player shorter than 6'5" on this team that plays real minutes. And when it comes time for the SEC championship, Kentucky will defeat Florida the same way Arizona beat Florida last night. But the difference is, it's the same kind of thing we talked about.
Right.
Aggressiveness, Florida might be too aggressive at times. Teams can expose that by slowing down, forcing fouls, forcing mistakes. Last year, though, Florida got to bully players like Chaz Lanier at Tennessee, Tahan Pettiford, smaller guards like that.
Yeah.
You don't have a single player like that in Kentucky.
You don't.
And what Arizona did, like you said, and I know the stats that you said, where Florida shot really bad and still were right. They shouldn't even been in that game.
Right.
I agree with you, but Kentucky's on a whole nother level, and I think they're Mark Pope. We haven't seen much of him at Kentucky. It's only his 2nd year, but he did great at BYU, and he's looking amazing right now as a head coach.
He
belongs.
He is.
In the SEC.
He's Kentucky's man. I think he's their guy for the future. But, I just trust Todd Golden in that Florida squad. I think they have too much talent on that team to not figure out a way to have similar results to last year. Like I said, I know they lost their 3 lead guards from last year, but I think they'll figure it out with Xavier Lee. I think they'll figure it out with Boogie Flan. Like I said, Condon's still there, Hoff. They have a roster. They have a squad that is able to contend with anyone in the country, I think. But interesting pick for Kentucky. I actually think that a sleeper in the SEC could be Arkansas.
Yeah.
Darius Acuff, Malik Thomas, they had 2 really good recruits. Calipari's thing, but
it's hard to know what their roster looks like.
Exactly.
I don't think I could pick that in good conscience because I don't have what I need in terms of analysis, but that's what we're here for, following along all season.
Exactly.
With these teams.
And I'm excited to see what college hoops has to bring for us this year, and we'll be right there following along, and be prepared. I think Sydney is our guest on Thursday.
Our first special guest.
So Sydney, she is a Louisville woman, so she will have plenty to say about that squad this year, and whatever college basketball take she has, you will hear her on Thursday. So every Tuesday and Thursday, tune in here. This has been 303 Hoops. Until next time.